Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Carnation Crafts TV. I'm Laura. We have Bunny next door. This is our last show of the day, and it's our last show of our brand new launch, which is Wondrous Tidings. So this means that for this show, we are doing our DT showcase. So this is when we look into some of the design team samples in a lot more detail, and we'll show you how they make their cards. So we're going to go all the way over here, and then we're going to start with our card. Now the card that we are making is Janine's to start off with. So I'm just going to pop the tree out for a minute. So to start off with, we're going to make the card base. So we are going to be using the sentimental frames. So the sentiment frames, you can see you can pop these where you want them to go. So if I grab my plates and then I've just moved this around, so I've got my magnetic sheet. I find this easier when you've got a magnetic sheet there, so you can pop your die on, and then the actual sentiments, it's up to you where you want them. So like you could have them going completely around the card. On this one, they're just going down the side. Maybe you just want them on the top and the bottom. Maybe you just want one there. You can mix and match these up. So we're going to pop them going down the card. So we're going to have one there. That's there. And then I find it easier using the magnetic sheet because that's going to hold those then into place for you to do it. That's going to go there, and that one is going to go there. So I'm going to have the gap there. Now equally you could do it the other way around. So you've got them that will fit in there. So you do have them that fit in everywhere. So if you want to do one pass, you can cut them all out, but equally you can do it like this. Now I need some purple to go on there. So we're using the dark purple from the Perfect Papers. Pop that on, pop our plate on, and then let's run that through. And then that is going to cut out the base for our card, the front bit. So we're going to get that lovely sentiment on there. Now we're going to grab some gold. Now that's there. So we'll pop that, and now if I turn that around, you've got that. But the other lovely thing, where's my there? About this is if I pop that out, let's put that there. You have now got joy and light. So the waste that you would be using from your die cutting, you have got that now. So keep these, and then you will use those again. So right, let's pop these out. So now what I'm going to do is pop these sentiments out, and I'm going to pop them there, and then I'm just going to turn this a minute, and then we're going to pop that mirror card on, and then pop that through. So I'm doing it now. So I've done one in that purple with the sentiments built in, and now I'm doing it in the mirror card without the sentiments on there. So we've got this one with the gap on either side, and now I'm going to do exactly the same but without, so I'm leaving the sentiments out of the card. And then what that is going to do is give us the back of the card. So then when I pop the purple on top of that, you've got that lovely writing coming through in that gold. So you could use that either way as well, couldn't you? You know. So we've got that. Now, while we go on to the next bit and we start sticking that down, I'm just going to run this through again in the gold, and then that's going to be the back of that. Okay, so I'm just going to run that through while we glue this in place. So let's just run that through. Let's pop some glue on the back of here. So just glue that and glue this. And I'm just going to add some little bits of glue along that writing. And that will just sit on there like that. And then if I grab this, we have got that. And then that is just going to go, oh, let's try not to move it. That is going to go there. And then if I just pop a little bit of glue on the top of here, and then that will just sit on there like so. I think Janine has used purple on hers, but we'll just use, because it's only the back, so we'll just use the gold. So that is going to be, so we've got our card ready to go. Okay, so we've got that. Now the next thing we're going to do is add in some of the Compose for Christmas. So we're going to pop this up here on the top, which I just think looks lovely. I love this. Such, yeah, it's so detailed, especially with the purple and gold, because you do have little elements in there that look as if there's gold in there. So it does work really well. I'm going to pop that there. We're going to build up our pine cone. So we do have the decoupage on here to build these up. So I'm going to pop that one in. Then you've got your next layer there. So we're going with this. And another layer. And then with that one just there like that. Let's see what else we can do. So we're going to add in some of the berries as well. So we'll just add a little bit of that in there like so. Oh. You've got these to add in as well. I love that you can just build these up as much as you want though. So you could, you know, you could have just left it exactly how it was and it works really well. Or you could go in like this and just add in as much or as little as you want. So I'm just going to add in these and there. Add that in. And then I'm going to add another one. Oh, I need another pine cone. I've got one, I've got one. I've got the decoupage, I just haven't got the main bit. Okay, if so Bonnie's just said if anybody has any questions for us, if anybody wants to know anything, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, anything you want to ask about the collection or anything at all, then give us a message. This is the DT showcase show. So we're here to show the DT samples, do, you know, more relaxed in this hour, so we can, you know, we can have a little chat, you know, tell us what you've been up to, or you want to show us what you've been making, or absolutely anything at all, then get in touch. We'll add this one in there. Oh, maybe we could give a card away. We could send, do you know, like we do with the yeah, when we do the craft along, where we get suggestions of something else to use and we send the card out. Maybe we could send a card out. Somebody messages in. Do you know, I think if I said that, then we would. Who could name the most reindeers? Yeah, you could not Google it. You'd have to. I really don't think I can name that many, which I feel quite bad about that I can't, considering I do say how much I love Christmas. But I always feel like I forget. I feel like every year I'll see something with the list of names on and I think, oh, do you know what? I should just remember that, and I never do. For whatever reason. So Bunny is saying she knows Prancer and Dancer just because they rhyme. And Rudolph, you know Rudolph? Prancer, Dancer, Dasher, Vixen, Prancer. Vixen, Comet. I think we've named 4. Oh, I feel like you're going to Google it now and I'm going to go, ah, of course it's that. I'm going to add one more. Dasher, Dancer, we named them. Prancer, we named that. We named Vixen. Comet, we named. Cupid, we didn't name. Donna, we didn't name. And Blitzen. So we only missed 3. Yeah, me too. Right, I've just added in them on there. So we've got the base. I've just added a little bit more berries there, so you can see that's what Janine's look like. So we've got the base ready to go. Now we need to make the actual tree. So for this, we have a tree that I started making yesterday. So we're going to use this. Now, how far into the show are we? So one of the things that I was saying yesterday that I find easier. Now, it depends what I'm doing. So if I was doing this and I want the card to fold flat like that, then I would probably pop your tree down flat and glue them in like this. The only reason, and I think I'd still use a hot glue to glue them. Otherwise, you're going to have to hold that for a little bit to make sure that stays. But the only reason I say that, because especially if you're going to use a wet glue, if you pop the tree up like that and then stick things on, you might fold it flat and then disturb where you've glued that, and it might come off. So I would find it easier to probably stick them down as you go. So as you put each layer on, stick them on then, so you kind of, you just make it a bit easier for yourself. So if we kind of start, so I've just turned that there. Right, so if we just start there, so we've got the one on the bottom, and then we've got two that I've popped in on the top. So I've got 3 layers there. So I will just pop that flat like that. And you put the lid on that. So we won't use this, we'll use a wet glue. And then I will grab my tweezers and then just pop. Now the other thing you can do as well, did Janine, oh she did do this, is you have these, just put a bit of glue across that, and then you can pop that on to your branches like so. So that's just going to go on there like that. So that could be the wire for the lights, or it could be the ribbon that you're going to add in. You could put it in and out the branches, couldn't you? And then grab your lights. And then, now the design team as well have done these in different ways as well. Like some of them have got them literally like hanging off of the edges like that, or some of them have popped them more on so they kind of look as if they're sticking out with the tree. So you do have different options of how you're going to pop these together. So depending on how you want them to come in. So like these ones now I've kind of bent. So what I do is grab the bobble, and then where the hook bit is that would go hook onto the tree, just fold that so it looks like this, and then you can see then you can pop the bobble bit on, so it'll hang on like that. So same with these ones. Oh, so Pam's message saying that she just puts a little bit of wet glue on the bobble tabs and then just holds them there for a couple of seconds. So yeah, have a play around and see, but then so you can see there, and then just keep adding. Oh, you could go in with the bows. I love that. Jan has messaged saying that she's ordered the Christmas tree card set, is it? Yeah, and she didn't need it, but she has the willpower of a gnat. That is brilliant. The willpower of a gnat. I am right there with you. But do you know what? Well, yeah, when you get these home and you have a play with these, it will 100% be worth it. So you can pop them on. Yeah, I think home decor, these are going to be, that's stuck to my finger instead of the card. They're going to be perfect for home decor items. I can just imagine them with like a little wooden village next to them. And they look so fluffy as well when they're done. And pop on there. And then just lift that up so I can make sure that is bent enough. and then just keep building on that. So you can keep building that up, and obviously keep going and adding in more, and then every layer you add in the ribbon, or it could be the twine for the lights, and add in an extra bauble. And then you can see actually Janine's used the bow on the top of the tree. So instead of using the star or the angel, pop in the bow on the top, and then the tree has a slit on the bottom that will go into the card stand. Now Janine's just cut hers, so if I just grab this and just cut into that, so then that would, oh, I've got the stand on here. So then this would essentially, obviously when the tree is full, fit. Do you know what, if you're making cards for somebody as well, the tree could be a gift. Like it could be a gift on a card, couldn't it? So like you could be gifting the tree to somebody for their Christmas decorations, and then that will open up, and then this will sit there, obviously all full, but that will sit there then, like that. Shall I pop this one back on? Janine's. And so then it'll sit in the center like that, so you can keep building that up, keep adding those baubles in, but it's just another way of using the sentiment as well, how that comes together. So that one was with Janine. Let me just move that over there, and then the next one we're going to do is Vera. So this is Vera's card that we are going to make. So let me just pop them out of the way, and let me grab is right. So we're going to start with, how did I, the card base first. So we've got our die, so we need the snowflake in the purple colour, so we'll cut that. Actually what I'm going to do, just to speed things, where am I, oh, I was going to say, where are my big scissors, but they're in the car from me wrapping presents yesterday. Let's cut that. So this is the bigger size mat. So if I pop that there, you can see that's the bigger one. So I'm going to pop this on there, pop that there, and then I need some white card. So we'll cut this. And we'll pop this one over there. So we'll do those two layers. So we've got the snowflake for the background, and then we've got the white to go on top. So the snowflake one is going to be the actual card base for this one. So we'll have to cut that out again. So we'll do that one twice. And then we're going to bring in, so we're going to use the from the workshop, and we're going to use the topped with a bow. I want to know if somebody's crafting along with us. Maybe we should do like a craft along, where maybe we like send them like, done like an ingredients list for when you bake. Like we'll send them like a list of, right, if you cut one of these, cut one of these, cut one of these, so they've got all the bits like me next to them, and then they could just actually make the card at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right, so we've got the larger one, mat, and we've got the smaller mat that are going to go together. And then just before I stick those together, I'm going to pop the bigger one back on there and pop the snowflake back on there and cut that out, so that will complete the card base. Oh, right, so while that's going through, let's put some foam tape on the back of here. And then we can pop this onto the card. So I think, was it Anne? No, Vera did this one. So Vera has used the backing papers that are available on the website. I've just got some white card for this. Let's pop that there. And then we've got that. Actually, before I move that, I'll put that there and line that up. Obviously, if I was doing that at home, I would use my scoreboard, but just to give you the card base. So we've got the back of the card, we've got the mat that is going to go on the front, which is going to go there. So we've got the card base, then we've got that white mat that we just cut out. So this, you can tell that I'm like crafting myself now because there is just mess everywhere. I feel like all crafters are the same. It does not. Bunny was just saying it takes hours to clean up in here after me. I was like, it does not. I was mortified then. I'm not that untidy, am I? Right, we're going to pop them in. You wait till next week. We're going to have you. You're not coming in a bunny ears and a Christmas hat anymore. You're coming in a full bunny costume with a Christmas hat on and fairy lights and everything. It's going to be the full works. Right, so we've got now the Santa sleigh and we've got the reindeer in here. Now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to grab my scissors. We are going to just snip along that cut line that's already in there. So all I'm going to do is just pop the scissors through. It's a bit hard for you to see. Can you see my scissors coming through there? You can see them, but they're poking them out, look. So I'm just going to snip. Snip there. So now I've got a gap that I can pop something in. So we're going to pop the present in there. Oh, so pop that in there like that, and then oh, this is the jewelry delivery. So you got the 1 and 2. Pop that in there like that. So you got your little sleigh, the little presents in there, ready to go. So that is gonna sit there. Just grab some a pin flare. So pop this well there. So we've got our little reindeer. Could be Comet or Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Dasher. They've gone. That was a Rudolph, Cupid, yeah, that was it. No, that's gonna go. So that's gonna go there. Now the other thing that Vera did do was she's used some of the snow. So I'm gonna guess that this is some of the snow cut from the In Their Element. So when she's used the robin, if she's cut the robin away, it's a bit of the snow that she'd have snipped away. So we've not got that bit in. Oh, and then actually what we're going to do is, so the card that we just did, let's add joy. Oh. Right, so you're never ever gonna throw these away. You're going to use these, always keep these a little bit. And that's just a prime example as well, you know, of when I always say to you, if you cut anything, always keep it, because even that little bit where you think, oh, I'm not going to use that on its own, you will find somewhere to pop them in. Just move that up a bit. So we've got joy and light, and then we're going to pop in our bow. Now the bow, if I just pop that on there, you can see how those tails, they just go into that sleigh and kind of take away from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to follow those cut lines. So it's just one little snip there, 2, 3, and then we've cut that bow down to that. Pop a little bit of glue on there, and then we've got our card ready. Oh, do you know what I've just thought as well? Do you know the little bows that we were saying could go on the presents? So you've got the big bow, and then you've got those 2 little ones. Well, this little one, where's my... Yeah. Oh, she's getting in the Christmas spirit now. Look, you could be like, you could pop that. Should we put it on there? Your little bow. There you go. Oh. So we got that, and let me grab Vera's as well. So you got them. Yeah. And you know, that's such a nice way of showing how much the background papers, like even though they're very subtle, you can see the trees there, but it can make such a difference using the background paper. And you've got those free as well to download on the website. Oh, I'm happy with that little bow. A little bow looks pretty. Right, let's do another one. Let me move that over there. Pop that there. Oh, right, this one we're going to do is Barbara. So let's move these. It's cute, doesn't it? Really nice. Right, let's move these out of the way. So let's get, we need, I think that's, no, yeah, right, so let's get this out. So we need, what is this? Is that the mat? Right, so let's grab this and pop the card base down, which is the bigger mat on the card shape. So we've got that, and then we need the oval as well, which is there. So we've got that and that. And you know the other thing you could, oh no you can't because you're using as a card base. Right, pop that on there, and let's cut this out. So we've got this. This is like that really dark, it's almost like a dark fuchsia pink. It's really lovely. So run that through. And oh, what are we going to use instead of that backing paper? The background paper. Let me see. What? I've got white. We could just do. Oh, is that white? I don't know. Let me. God, I don't know what. I think I've just got white. I think it's like the thick white cardstock. We could do that. Let's do this. Right, now let's grab that. So we've got we've got our card base. We've got that oval that's going to go in the center, and then we've got these that I need to cut out. So let's take that away. Done that. Let's run that through. So we've got the base. So the two of those large ones are going to make the base, and then we've got these two then that we'll cut out in the white that will go in the center, and then we're going to build up the lantern then as well. Oh, we need the lantern die as well. Let's pop that there, so we've done that. Right. So we've got the base, and we'll pop that there, and then let's grab the next one. So this is the next layer in that will fit on there. So we're going to do, that's going to be our mat, and then this is going to be the mat for the oval. If you were using your printed sheets and maybe you want the pattern to mirror up, what you could do is pop that there and die cut it like this. Now I'd only do this if I'm using my magnetic sheet. So when you die cut that, you're cutting out that oval from there, but because it's the smaller layer, when you put that mat over it, you're cutting away the piece of cardstock that's going to be under there anyway, so you're not going to see it. So if you want the pattern to continue so it looks the same, then you could do that, and that's an option for getting that pattern. Or even if you're just trying to you know, if you're using like really nice cardstock or like your perfect papers and you just want to make the cardstock go that little bit further, you could absolutely do that. Now I'm just going to give this a quick fold. And then let's glue this. On there like that. So then we've got that there. Then we've got our next layer. This is going to be in white. So we'll just put a little bit of tape on there, just to raise this one up like so. So that is just going to set on there like that. And then this is going to sit on there like that. I'll put a little bit of tape on the back of there. Have we had any messages? Oh no. So Annie messaged in the earlier show saying that she was patiently waiting for her postman to deliver her collection today, and she thinks he's taken a wrong turn because it's still out for delivery, but it will be delivered today. Oh no, there's nothing worse, is there? We did, I know. We jinxed it for you. Hopefully it'll be there soon. But I'm always the same. If ever I've got an order with a courier, not Royal Mail, I can guarantee I'm not getting it before 4 o'clock is like the earliest. 4, 5 o'clock is the earliest that I'll get it. So I'm definitely the last run, the last leg of the run. Sometimes I've even had delivery sometimes at like 8:30. 7 o'clock, yeah, sometimes I'll get them really late, especially Christmas time, when they get busy. I'm sure I've had them like really late. Sometimes I've even had the deliveries and not realised I've had the deliveries. Yeah. Right, let me grab this. Oh, I need a bit of tape. What can I put on there? Right, I'm going to hope that this low tack tape doesn't rip. I can't find the end of it. Right, so we've got the lantern next. So what I'm going to do, now this is me when I'm at home, so I'm going to grab that, pop that under there, and then I'm back to this. So then I can pop that on there, and this is going to sit there like that. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that there, some tape on there, and then pop this through there. So then we're going to have this one that is going to sit there like that, and we can pop our flame there, and then the other one is going to fit on top but with that window, so you'll see the flame coming through. I'm really holding my breath so this doesn't rip the. This tape is a new tape that I've bought, and I don't know if it's as low tack as what it claims to be, because they always feel low tack, but until you actually put it through a die cutting machine and it gets sandwiched into the cardstock, I feel like you don't really know how low tack it is until that happens. Oh, I mean, it's coming off. It has oh, I think we've done okay here, guys. I am doing it very slowly, man, because I am scared I'm going to rip it, but that's fine. I can deal with that if it doesn't rip. Alright, I've got a tiny little bit there that I've got to pull off, or it'll annoy me. That now obviously doesn't want to come off. There. Right, so we've got that. So we've got that lovely window there now. So now when I pop that on there, you just get that effect of the flame coming through. So let's grab some glue. Now the other thing that Barbara has done with hers, so Barbara's popped the lantern on to the card, and then she's actually popped that on there like that, and then before she's put this down, she's actually just popped a piece of acetate over there, so it looks as if you've got that glass there. So that's a lovely little touch to add in. We do have acetate as well on the website. Let's pop that in. That in there, and then if we pop this in, that is just gonna sit like that. And then we want our bow, so we've cut the tails off there. And then this is such a usable bow. It's a lovely size as well. You know, the fact that you can actually cut into it as well. Oh, you could make it into a rosette. And that's gonna go on there like that. Then we've got our composed for Christmas. And this is just gonna sit there like that. And we got our pine cone there. Funny, do you want me to tell you a funny story that my other half will kill me for telling you? Well, for telling everybody, but it's so funny. I cannot not tell you the story. So one Christmas we went we went looking at Christmas decorations, and there were some pine cones that I picked up. So it was this Christmas I decided I wanted to change all the Christmas decorations, like the colour scheme. So we went in to the shop and I was like, oh, do you know what? I really like those pine cones. I might get a couple of them to add in with the branches onto the tree. And he just looked at me with his face was completely glazed over, didn't have a clue. And I was like, the pine cones, they were right in front of us. They were literally on the shelf, face height in front of us. And I was like, the pine cones, like right in front of, I don't know how else I can say, the pine cones that are right in front of us. And he, at this point now, he was getting annoyed with me. He was like, there aren't any pine cones in front of us. I don't know what you're on about. And in the end, I got so annoyed. I picked one up and I was like, these, what do you think I'm on about? And he was like, I thought those were acorns. And I was like, you have lived 30 odd years of your life not knowing the difference between not knowing that a pine cone was a pine cone and not an acorn. I was like, how? But I thought it was absolutely hilarious. He was like, oh, Bunny, you're going to say the same thing now, aren't you? Yes? So Bunny's just said that when she was writing up the descriptions for the collection, she had to look up what the pine cone was. To be fair, I feel a bit better now that, you know, it's not just him. No, apparently not. But there you go. There you go. You were just checking. You were just making sure you were 100%. That's all. Yeah. So you can see now how Barbara's just added in more of those berries, and you can just build these up as much as you want. I love that Barbara put in that bit of acetate in there, so it looks like glass, so you've got that window effect in there too. But they are so beautiful. So let me show you. So we did Barbara's card there, so big thank you to Barbara for sending that one and making that for us. We also did Vera's card there, which I absolutely love, and then we've also done Janine's card as well, so you can see how that base with the tree then that would sit in the center as well. So you can see how that comes together. So big shout out though to the whole design team, because they have made so many cards for this launch. So you can tell that they've had fun with them, but they've made so many cards. I think we've done different ones throughout all of the different shows. They do work incredibly hard to make all the samples for our show. So big thank you to the design team. That does bring us to the end of our show today. So we will be back here next Monday with 3D baubles. So we will be back with more Christmas for the Crafter Select on Monday. I will be on Hobby Maker on Thursday with a summer sale. So if you want to get some bargain prices, then make sure you join me on Hobby Maker on Thursday. But if not, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and we will see you back here at 10 a.m. on Monday for the 3D Christmas bauble. So hopefully I will see you then.